Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got an incredible tutorial for you all. We will learn about the process of creating a stunning web page using Astro, React and Tailwind CSS. Before we jump into integrating React and Tailwind into our Astro project, let's take a quick look at the structure of an Astro project. Our project source code is mainly located in the source folder. It will contain everything from pages, layouts, and Astro components, and even UI framework components like React or Vue. You will also find styles including CSS and sass and Markdown files in this directory. Our project source code is mainly located in the source folder. It will contain everything from pages, layouts, and Astro components and UI framework components like React. You will also find styles including CSS and sass and Markdown files in this directory. The component folders contain reusable code snippets, or you can say code pieces, such as navbar and footer, header, etc. These can be Astro components or UI framework components like React or Vue. Layouts, on the other hand, are Astro components that define the shared UI structure for one or more pages. And then pages are a special type of component dedicated to creating new pages on our site. Whether it is an Astro component or a Markdown file, each represent a specific type of content. Moving on to the styles, you will find your CSS files here. The public directory is where we store assets and files such as images and fonts. So, as in this video, we are going to use React in Astro. One thing I want to make it clear, or you can say I want to make it a key point, we use React components when we want to deal with dynamic and interactive parts of our application, okay? And for static content that doesn't need client-side JavaScript, then we will go for Astro components, okay? Now that we have got the basic of Astro project tree covered, let's start building our web page. Ready? Let's go. And if you are looking for a more in-depth understanding of Astro, or you may want to explore how to integrate Vue and React, be sure to check out Astro's official documentation. I will leave the link for it in the description box below. Okay? So, alright, let's get started. To set up an Astro project, we will start by running the command npm create astro at latest in the terminal. This will then prompt us to specify the location and name of our new project. Next, we are asked about how we would like to set up our new project. So for this, we will go with empty or no template, okay? Then it will ask you about installing dependencies. So definitely we want to install the dependencies, so select yes. And then it asks whether we prefer TypeScript or not. For this project, we will stick with JavaScript, so choose no. Basically, in this project, we are not going to have any JavaScript, but still, okay? And then if we do want to initialize a new Git repository, so select yes. And just like this, our project is set up. Now, let's add React and Tailwind to our Astro project. And now let's add React and Tailwind to our Astro project. So here let's go into our project folder and then run the command npx astro add React Tailwind, and then let's hit enter. And then we want to continue, so let's hit yes. And it is now installing dependencies, so let's wait for a moment. And it says Astro will generate a minimal tailwind config.mgs file, so okay, do it, yes. And then again it asks us to continue, so yes, we do want to continue. Okay, yes. So now that everything is done, let's open this folder into the VS Code by running the command code followed by prate. Okay, and here we have this. So this is the project structure for now. Let's open the terminal in the VS Code, and here let's run the command npm run dev to start the server. And now it has started the server on localhost 4321. And here on localhost, you will find this Astro heading, which is coming from index.astro file. So before we start writing out the code, I just want to show you what we are going to build in this video. This is the web page that we are going to build, okay, which has the site navigation, or you can say navbar over here, and it has icons. When we hover over this, it scales out. When the page reloads, you are going to see this beautiful animation for this welcome to Mia's art space. Alright, So let's start building this. So we are going to start by creating a navigation bar. So in this source directory, create a components folder, and in this component folder, let's create a navigation.jsx file. This is going to be the React component, okay? So in this file, we start by defining the navigation function and also exporting it. Within this function, we create a nav element with a dark background, and it has a width of 3 rem and a height set to the entire screen. We also have Tailwind classes such as fixed, top 0, left 0, which is the margin from the top and left to be 0, and it is going to be display flex, so that all the contents of this nav elements are going to be centered. Inside this nav element, we are going to have an unordered list. So just like this, we are going to have another 5 list items also, okay? And each list item will have an anchor tag A for linking the icons to different pages on our site. So for now, we are just going to set the links to the current page. And then we also want to add icons such as home, magnifying glass, and download. All these icons you can download from the font awesome. What you have to do is select this, and here download the svg file for each of the icons that we are going to use, okay? So here I'm going to bring all of the icons that I need into the public directory, and we don't need this favicon.svg file, so let's delete this file. And this studio.jpg file is the picture that we are going to use as a background. So I took this picture from the unsplash.com, okay? You can just take any of the picture you want, alright? Now let's use this icon into our code using an image tag. Set the width and height of the icons to be 1.5 rem and apply a transition effect to scale the icon when hovered, okay? So just like this, I'm going to create another 5 list items. So here I have brought another 5 list items. The first one being the home one, and second is magnifying glass solid. Then we have the hard solid download button, okay? And then we have bell button, and then user solid. So now let's save this file. But when you go back to this localhost 4321, you will find nothing. Why is it so? Because we haven't used navigation bar yet into our main page, that is index.astro file. So let's do that now. So open the VS Code. So here what we are going to do is we are going to import the navigation from components folder, and then down here inside the body tag we are going to use that navigation. So now let's save this file, and when you go back to the local host, you will see this beautiful navigation over here. So now that we have created a navigation component, let's create our introduction page for our website, which was the welcome section, okay? So in the components folder, create an intro.astro file. Remember, Astro components are HTML only templating components. So we will start with the basic HTML template, and the title for the intro page is going to come from the page title variable, which is declared inside the code fences. We can define local JavaScript variables inside of the front matter component script between the two code fences of an Astro component. And then we can use this variable into the component's HTML template using JSX-like expression, just like this. Then we are going to have 3 sections on our website. The first being the welcome section. Second one is that small div which says that look at my art space. And the third one is the art gallery. So let's start with the welcome page, that is our first section. So in the first section, we have a div element with the class relative, height set to the screen size, and then we have display flex items, and then margin from left is going to be 12. This div is going to take up the full height of the screen, center its content vertically and horizontally, and it is also going to add a left margin of 12 units. Inside the main div, we have the next div which has a Tailwind class of text center to center all the text present in it. Within the text center div, we have several h1 headings. The first h1 is going to have Tailwind classes of text 3XL for small screen, and then the text hits 4XL when it is on the medium screens or on the larger screens. The text is set to the gray 100 and font is bold, and margin from bottom is 4. Okay. The second H1 heading we are using has the class of text 3XL for small screen, and it is going to be 6XL when it hits the medium size screen and larger. Font is bold, margin from the bottom is 4, text is set to gray 200, okay? And the third heading which we are using uses the same classes as first and second. After the heading elements, we have a div with the class flex, justify center, item center. Basically, it is centering all of the content with classes for styling, such as its background is going to be transparent, and when hovered, it is going to have a background of orange 300. Text is set to gray 200, font is semi-bold, and when we hover over the button, its text changes the color to gray 900. And there are other Tailwind classes which provides the border and padding for it. Okay. Once we are done with this, let's save this file, import the Astro component into index.astro file just like this, and down here below navigation, call this intro component and save the file and head back to the localhost, and there we do have our content, but we are yet to set the background for this. Now that we know the layout of our website is navbar at the left side and the content on the right side, okay, let's make it as a Astro layout. Create a layout folder into the source directory, and inside this layout folder create main layout.astro file. And inside the main layout.astro file, we start by importing navigation component, and we are also going to use title as an Astro prop, okay? And we also do have some basic HTML template. Inside the body tag, we are calling the navigation component which we imported at the top, and we also have the slot. A slot is used to specify where the individual page content should be injected, okay? And inside the head tag, we declare a meta tag that is going to use the title variable that is defined in the code fences. This is going to help title every page in our website that will use this layout. And inside the style element, we import the font from Google Font, and we also style the body with margin and padding set to 0 pixel, position, relative, background image, and its position and attachment. And then we also have the before pseudo element on the body tag that will create a full page overlay with a semi-transparent black background. This is the overlay that makes the background darker and more readable for the text on top of it. So now that we have our Astro layout created, save this file, remove all of the content from index.astro file and just leave this import statement. And above it, import the main layout which we created right now, just like this, okay? And then call the main layout component, and inside it call the intro component. This structure means that the intro component will be rendered within the layout defined in the main layout. So now let's save this file and head back to the localhost. It's refreshing, and there we have this background set. Alright, but if one thing you notice is that there was no animation for this welcome to Mia's art space. So let's set animation for this right now. In the intro.astro file, create the style element and define a keyframe typing, okay? And at 0%, the width is set to 0, visibility is hidden, and at 100%, the width is going to be 100. And this animation is going to apply it on type animation class. So now that you have set the style for this, you have to copy this class and then type on the second heading which we want to have animation, and then also give it two classes more, which is going to be overflow hidden and white space now wrap, okay? Save the file, and there we have this beautiful animation for our second heading, welcome to Mia's art space. And now that we are done with the first section of our web page, let's go on and create a second section. So for the second section, we have a div element with the classes relative, height, screen, and all the classes similar to the first one. This div will take up the full height of the screen and center its content both vertically and horizontally. Inside the main div, we have another div with the class relative, group, and animate bounce. And inside that div, we also have two child divs. The first child div has a class absolute minus inset minus 1. Background is set to gradient from orange to yellow 400, and it's rounded, and the effect is blur with opacity 100. Okay, it creates a gradient background with a blurry effect. The second child div has class relative padding from the left and right to be 7, and from top and bottom is going to be 6. Background is set to gray 200, and we have other classes which is going to style the second page. Inside the second div we have another div with the class space y2, which is going to set the space from top and bottom to be 2, and paragraph element with the class text gray 800, and text is XL for smaller screen and 3XL for medium and larger screen, and font is bold. Save the file and head back to the local host, and it's refreshing, and there we have this div which has an animate bounce class which is directly coming from the Tailwind. Now that we are done with the first section and the second, let's build a third section, that is our art space gallery. It's really very simple, okay? Here we have the outermost div that has a padding of 5, and its position is set to relative, and margin from left is going to be 12 because we do have navigation at the left side. We have another div with many classes. Div is basically responsible for creating a grid layout with different column configuration based on what screen size it is on. On smaller screen there will be only one column, and on medium screen there is going to be 2 columns, and for the larger screen we are going to have 4 columns. Additionally, we have this special selector which target images except for the first one to add the margin at top, and then we also have the padding from left and right to set to 10. And inside it we also have another div which has the image that we are going to display with the heading of that image, okay? And this image we are going to bring it right now. So whatever images you are using, you have to bring it into this public directory. So these are all of the images that I'm going to use, and you will see this art1 image, alright? And similarly we are just going for all these images also, okay? And the image element also have Tailwind classes for styling, such as rounded to round the corners, shadow LG for a large shadow, and hover effect for a smooth transition between shadows. And just like how we did for this image, we are also going to have another div for second image, and similarly for all the images that you are going to use. Okay, but as you will see here, our code has increased a lot. So what we can do is we can create another component for this image gallery. But now as we are done here, we will save this file, and when you head back and when you scroll, you will have images over here, okay, like this. And when you hover over the images, you will see the shadow which we created for each and every image. So that's how we integrate React and Tailwind in Astro. That wraps up our video. I hope you learned something new today, and if you did, then don't forget to like this video. Also, if you have any doubts, feel free to drop a comment below, or you can even join my Discord server. The link for it is given in the description box. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.